everyone. I hope you're all doing great and in good health. Thank you for all the viewers who have been watching my videos, and I hope the videos are helpful. And the information which I gave was very good and representing in exams. And without any late, we are going to see today's unit 4, which is prescribed for all the BTech students as English for skill enhancement. And we are going to see fourth unit, as I was saying already, art and literature, written by APJ Abdul Kalam. It was not a complete book, but it was an extract from Indomitable Spirit by APJ Abdul Kalam, and art and literature was one of the chapter in his book. So we are going to see that. Without any delay, we are going to just step into the video. As I am Pranathi, assistant professor in English from Marri Laxman Reddy Institute of Technology and Management. So art and literature, which is a segment from Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam's Indomitable Spirit. Art and literature is one chapter, as I already mentioned. A little intro about the author, who is Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, born in 1931, and from that period 1931 to 2015, he worked as a 11th president of India, and people usually call him, or he is usually honored as People's President. Because of his services rendered to people, because he's so simple and humble. He is a person who believes that the people are the only thing, irrespective of different caste and religion and all. And he, being an aeronautical engineer, a mentor, inventor, and a visionary, he is a very good motivational speaker. And whenever we see Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, you could see how his life been in different stages, and how he was from nowhere to a man who is everything. And he is an architect. Is a very another important innovation in his career was he architected Indian ballistic missile and a launch vehicle technology. And usually he is being known as the other name called Missile Man of India, and he was honored an highest Indian honor, which is Bharat Ratna, which is the highest honor in India. And he was a good person. Apart from the awards and all, he is a person who believes that the children are the tomorrow's citizen, and he believes that the technology is going to take us further and make us stand out of a world and make us a most powerful country. So Abdul Kalam gave a very good service to the nation, and also to the development of science and technology. And as apart from the technology and all, as Abdul Kalam is good at reading books, writing books, he's an author, and he's an inspirational speaker, where he motivated many students and engineers, young engineers, into their career, helping them to find their path in their lives. Not only education, but he is a person who encouraged that the talent is what is necessary. And as Abdul Kalam was a good person, not only as a person, not only as a president, but he also wrote his book, and he contributed something to the literature. And he is a person who loves music. He used to play a mridangam or a tabla kind of instrument, where he loves music. And he gave his contribution to the literature, which was the ignited wings, or some. And there are other books also by PJ Abdul Kalam, where a lot of them got motivated and inspired. So, and as we are going into the lesson, art and literature, it all deals with 8 important concepts, where it is a chapter from the Indomitable Spirit. So from the chapter art and literature, we are going to see 8 such important points today, which is art helps life to survive, is the first topic, or a first concept we are going to see. Books are our eternal companions. My favorite books: The Importance of Authors, Music, Dance, and Drama, The Power of Films, Art Elevates the Spirits, Prosperity, and Art, as you could see in the screen. So I'm giving a very brief intro of each and every concept which has been discussed, which is going to be discussed furthermore, which art helps life to survive. And Abdul Kalam sir has a different perspective of saying what development, or what civilization is means with this concept. And books, as I already told, he is a person who reads a lot, and which helped him to be the person where is an ideal person to many because of his books. And we're going to see his favorite books and how the authors are gonna influence a person when you read a book. And same case with how music, dance, and drama are also an important concepts that need to be a part of the society, and it's been a part for the development also. And the power of films, which we know the power of films, where we get influenced by them a lot, and where we learn or know much about the society through films, and how anything will be so influential. And art, which elevates the spirit, where it is a soul to everyone. Art is a soul to everyone, which it kindles the soul and life and prosperity and art. So we will try to see the four concepts of today, and we will see if we could continue and we could finish it up. We'll try to finish the whole lesson in a single video only. For thank you for bearing. And as we are going into the first concept, which is art helps life to survive. Art helps life to survive. So APJ Abdul Kalam sir gave a very different perspective, like how civilizations been into existence. As there were many civilizations, uh, but only few got survived, and only out of few were also now only very few are most dominant in the world. So for that, the reason what Abdul Kalam sir believe is that art how art helps us to survive, and it gives a capacity to adapt ourselves to the changing. So that's the heading I have quoted here. I have used here is adaptability. So art helps us to survive. Art is not only about thinking about, not about today. Think that we are in a cave, when that we are in a cave period, or a stone age, where everything is been into carvings, and it's been forwarded to generations. And Abdul Kalam sir believed that the art is a part of survival. If you would like to survive tomorrow, you're going to carry something from today to the other generation, as a symbol that we are evolution, that we are into evolution, part of evolutionary process. So it makes us adaptive. It helps in adapting us to the different scenarios and different situations, where many natural calamities or economical crisis or whatever, but still we are adapting, and it gives us an ability to uphold all those things. And apart from, as art is a part of literature and poetry, due to different areas and different, as civilizations have been into different places and eras, then that form of work or words or pictorial images, which been a language to the people to communicate, and that helped us to survive. And later that came into existence with the different dialects, languages, where literature and poetry are an important part, where we are going to understand what happened in the past, and how it been influential to the present, and how it is going to see the future also. So art helps us to discover, analyze what future is going to be, based on not only literature, poetry, but also the dialects what we speak. Every local for, or every tradition has, every civilization has its own style of expressing things, and taking the knowledge and culture of ahead. And as art and helps us to survive, we have to be with the people, where we are into a society which with multicultural, multi languages, and multi religious, where we are learning, like this dharma or that faith and that religion is helpful in making us a good person, which is a part of survival. With unity and diversity, we see that is a thing what we have. We are a social secular nation, where we see each and every religion and caste and everything as one, and we respect. So this art is helping to see the good concept from everything. And Abdul Kalam sir gave a very good examples of Mahabharata, saying how life is going to end, what are the lessons you learn through Mahabharata. And there are other classics where influence influenced him to know the life with ups and downs, where it is like maybe when you are at a high spirit, how you are going to deal with the high or excitement, and when you are in low, how you could justify yourself or come and make yourself ease with the depression or whatever you could have. So says like APJ Abdul Kalam sir says that art helps us to be adaptable. You will be learning something new. You will be seeing the future with art, which is part of literature and poetry, and also the languages. Even when you see the English language, if I'm not wrong, language is a mixture of different languages. We have origins of different words which are a part of English. So that's how the language came into existence, and that's how English is also a part of communication, where we are seeing different languages and different religions and cultures where are part in our survival, and especially with the epics or a sacred books which says the ways of life. And we are going to the second concept, which is books are our eternal friends, eternal companions. Abdul Kalam sir believed that books gives you an eternal enrichment of life. It says how to live and how not, how a book can influence a person. Here you could see on the screen, you could see an Einstein. And when he is 11 years, I mean, when he's 12 years old, when Einstein was 12 years old, his friend, his mentor, Marx, I don't know if the name was correct, Marx Stewart, presented him a book called Equated Geometry book, which helped him to explore the universe, explore the truths, facts, and the other things, and where you know how what a person in how a person in 12 years is out of enthusiasm to discover many things. At that time, the right book was his companion. So says that books are the everlasting thing which enriches our life, gives a very best example of Einstein. And as Abdul Kalam sir believed that it is a permanent companion, because Einstein, everyone know that he has some psychological issue where at some time no one knows that Einstein could be a very good scientist, but people, when he was very young, when he's school, he also has trouble. But the one single book had changed his life, where you could see Einstein as a one of the greatest scientists in the world. And that is a perfect companion, mean, which influences you, which changes your life, and which helps you to make you a better person. So this book, for Einstein, when he went through the book, it gives exploration of the universe, and it gave the power to a mind to analyze things where no one can see. It helped a person to go in depth of the things where it's not visible and it's not tangible. So the book is, according to APJ Abdul Kalam, he believes that the books are the better companions and the eternal companions, where he gave an example of Einstein, where the book have changed the phase of science and technology. And then the fourth concept is about Abdul Kalam's favorite books, where people usually ask him whenever he visits to any gathering or a meeting or an interview. People usually ask what kind of book you read and what is the book you're reading now. So usually he has three major books in his life, where he keep on reading them again and again whenever he feels time, when he wants to feel when he wants to feel what life is, or when he wants to get relaxed, or when he is in low, whenever he wants to see a new perspective of life, or whenever he's in trouble in understanding, he usually refers to these three books, where he says The Light from Many Lamps, which is written by Lillian Alger Watson, which was a book presented by him by his when he's in a school, when he's a student. So it helped him to bond and rebond to the things happening in his life. As I was saying, whenever he finds trouble, whenever he's so excited, whenever he's in a very high, in cloud nine, it makes him give a balanced thinking. He keeps on reading it because it gives an exact way of what life is, what good and bad, how a person have to be. If you are in high spirits, how to normalize thing, and if you are in low, how you could analyze and come back to normal, and see like what is a main purpose of life is what he understood by this book, which is a book re-gifted him many times. And he believed that this book was also a recently published one, was also given by his friend, because his friend told that this is a great thing which he could do, gave a different perspective. So Abdul Kalam says maybe after time, after a few decades, maybe this book can be given a different perspective, also a different cover. So it's not only about today, it is about how the book is being forwarded and represented, or perspectives have been changing on that particular book through generations and generations. That is one important book in his life. And Thiruvalar Thirukkal is another book where he sees the oneness of a nation, where it's not about rich and poor, it's about um, how the way of life is, how the way of life is. It narrow downs from a border or differences to a simple thing, narrow down to nation, language, religion and culture. This is a Tamil book where it gives a very different perspective of what life is. Here you'll be seeing, in the first book you would see how a person have to live and all, but here is purely about life lessons, how you have to see without any differences. And here he also mentioned it gives balance between life, and also it sees about the minute things where people doesn't see, and that is a book also influenced him a lot. And the third book, which is The Man the Unknown, is written by Dr. Alexis Carrel, who is a doctor turned philosopher and a Nobel laureate. It is about how psychological and physiological matters go hand in hand. People think only physically things are possible, maybe psychologically things are possible, but the body and mind have to work together apart from any disturbances. So if a person have to be strong enough, not only physically but also a person have to be mentally strong. So this is a philosopher book which helped him to understand the integration, the alignment of a physiological and psychological concepts together, hand in hand it have to be. So these three books are Abdul Kalam's favorite books, which one teaches about the science, which teaches about the balanced thinking, help us to be normal, lead a normalized life. And second is about into a broader context, it comes up to single concept called nation, language, religion and culture. And the third book which is also about the psychological and physiological integration together, where a mind and body together have to work, and how a person have to be strong mentally and physically also. And the important of authors. Here we are going to see three main concepts called knowledge and wealth, and providing a route for the reader, and creation of enlightened readers. So here in the under knowledge and wealth, the importance of authors, as Abdul Kalam wants to say, like think for example, if you're talking about Mahabharata was written a long time ago, but still people are talking about it. Still we are going to learn lessons from it, and there are still things that need to be explored. So that is the main concept of literature, of books, where the influence can not be only said today, but also the influence of the author and the book also being forwarded to the other generations, where it is gonna live forever. So it is not only about today that the book is being published, and maybe at that time period the book might not be so relevant and so popular, but if after a while, maybe that is another important book. There is such book in literature also, where the book is not even published by the time when the person is alive, but later it was the book which gave a very good response, which is a bestseller book in at that time. So the person might not see a success, but the influence is gonna last. Same case with movies also. Maybe the movie when it was released in the first time was not a good hit, but maybe after that, after a decade or after 2 decades or 3 decades, when the movie got re-released, then maybe at that time the movie was a hit. That time movie can be a hit, we don't know the reasons. So the importance of authors when they write something at that period, it's not about that period, it's about how it's going to influence the people of future generations. Okay, and here from a book called Literary Person's Political Experiences, Jayakandan's book, which he been awarded as the 30th Jnanpith Award, the 30th Jnanpith Award. Here in that book, he says that it's the success is not during the author's period. The book will be success when even the author is not alive. It helps you. The success is about it after the era of the authors, even when the book is still relevant and it is prevailing in the world, then you call it as a success. So in that books we'll be seeing like how Adi Shankaracharya, we'll be seeing few references to how Adi Shankaracharya and made a guru. He has his influence, like it is all God's will, nothing is in my hands, was a quote quoted by Adi Shankaracharya, and also he says that it will provide a route to the reader. Whenever you read a book, maybe think that you're reading Atomic Habits. It will help you to see how lives can be changed. Think like a monk is another book, which is a very inspirational book, and in those kinds of books will you will see the signs that where you could conquer the weakness and despair. When you see Adi Shankaracharya books, you could sense that encouragement, and where you could see that the weaknesses, whatever you have, what the hurdles you have, you could overcome that. That is the influence another can be giving it, and it creates an enlightened. It can create an enlightening leaders. Think I was saying about Einstein, right? Einstein, he was no person from nowhere. He is a father of atomic energy. He is a person who created the formula for E is equal to mc square. No one believed, but a book had changed his life. That is what the concept of the importance of authors. What Abdul Kalam sir wants to say is that books, as it's not only at that time when the book was published and when the time was around that when the author is alive, but if the book is being prevailing in the market when people are reading it, the still it is called success. And as I was told, it gives you a clear path to a reader. Whenever you see a book, whenever you read a book, the author's impact will be on a reader's mind, where it helps you to motivate to think, even if it is for a temporary purpose. Whenever you read a book or whenever you see, nowadays people are not reading books, but we are listening to podcasts. At that time, maybe for few seconds or few minutes, whenever you see that video or listen to a podcast, or when you read a small article, you feel so inspired. At that time you have that influence. Yes, we can do it. Yes, we are that we have that capability, or we have that energy to do. So with as we finished half of the part, I'll be dealing with the second part in the next other half part in the next session, and I'll give a recap of whatever we dealt so far. Abdul, as art and literature is a part, and we are going to see of main overview of art helps to survive. Books are our eternal companions. The my favorite books, the importance of others, are the four concepts which we went through. So art helps us to survive. Many civilizations being born, but only few got survived because literature and poetry are part, and where it's been transferred from generations to generations, and whereas multicultural elements are part for the development, whereas the epic books which are long back, it gives us an essence of life, the way of life and how to live, and it says that these are the roots for our survival. And next is books are our eternal companions, where you could see the reference like books enriches your life, changes your life. It gives an exploration, it gives an ability to the mind, and says like three favorite books of Abdul Kalam's, and how the important of authors have been influence on the reader also, and how the books have been changed, how the sayings could be motivated, just like Vivekananda books. Whenever we read those Vivekananda books, we feel so inspired, and where we could still understand that the books, not only at that time, the author's impact is going to it's going to be on us maybe after centuries also, whenever you see the book. As I gave a reference as Mahabharata, also Mahabharata is been written a very long time ago, but still we have that influence. And of course this video has been this is for the first half. We are going to see the next half of the lesson later, and again we'll be going to see few more references of it. And thank you for this lecture. I hope the video is useful for you all. Thank you. Have a nice time.